Hi, my name is Renee. And before I tell you what my family did to me, I want to ask you something from the heart. Have you ever sacrificed something big for your family thinking they'd be proud, only to be tossed aside like you didn't matter at all? Has your love ever been taken for granted so badly that it left a scar you couldn't explain to anyone? Tell me where you're watching from. And please, if you've ever been in my shoes, just drop a quick yes or me too in the comments. I know I'm not the only one. Sometimes when I think back on everything, I still wonder how I kept going. But I did. And you will too if you're going through it. My story started in a little town in Missouri. I grew up in a family-owned saloon. Nothing fancy, just one of those old rustic bars with a jukebox in the corner and a dartboard nobody ever hit straight. My grandfather built it from the ground up, brick by brick. He was the kind of man who'd give away his lunch just to make a customer smile. That saloon was his pride. And when he passed, it became ours. Mine, my father's, and later, somehow my younger sister's. I wasn't born with dreams of becoming rich or famous. All I wanted was to make my family proud and to live a life that was mine. I worked behind that bar from the time I was 15, wiping down tables, serving drinks, cleaning up messes others made. It wasn't always pretty, but it was ours. And I thought that meant something. I thought I meant something. But everything changed the moment my sister decided she wanted to be a gaming star. I still remember the smell of the saloon in the mornings. Fresh wood polish mixed with a hint of stale beer from the night before. It wasn't fancy, but it was home. Our little town didn't have much. No mall, no big grocery store, not even a movie theater. But we had the saloon. And everyone in town knew it as Old Ray's Place, named after my grandfather Raymond. I was just a little girl when I first started hanging around the bar. At first, I'd sit on a stool while my grandpa counted the till or mopped the floor. He used to hand me a rag and say, "Here you go, boss. Help me make this place shine." I felt so important. Like I was part of something bigger than me. He never treated me like a kid who didn't know anything. He treated me like I was learning the ropes, like one day this place would be mine too. By the time I was 13, I was helping out after school. Filling up napkin holders, stacking glasses, wiping down booths. It was never forced, I wanted to be there. I felt close to my grandpa in a way I didn't feel with anyone else. He'd always make time for me even on busy nights. He'd tell me stories about how he built the bar during hard times, how he opened it with a few borrowed dollars and a prayer. He used to say, "This place isn't just a bar, Renee. It's our name. Our soul." I believed him. I believed in all of it. But after he passed away, things started to change. At first, it was slow, like a shift you can't quite name but you feel it. My dad took over the saloon, and while he kept it running, he never had the same love for it. He'd grumble about the long hours, the slow nights, the drunks that stayed too late. And my mom? She never liked the bar life. She wanted something fancier. Something cleaner. She'd complain about the way the saloon smelled like the past. Then came my sister Brianna. She's 5 years younger than me, and from the minute she could walk, people doted on her. Isn't she a doll? Look at those curls. I didn't mind it at first. She was my baby sister and I adored her. I helped raise her, fed her bottles, rocked her when she cried. I was proud to be the big sister. But as we got older, the difference in how we were treated became clearer. I was expected to work. That's just how it was. I'd come home from school, change clothes, and head straight to the bar. Friday nights, Saturday afternoons, even Sundays when the regulars came in to watch football. I was there wiping down tables, serving sodas, learning how to mix drinks when I turned of age. No one ever asked me if I wanted to be somewhere else. It was just assumed I would help. Brianna, though, she never lifted a finger. She'd sit in the corner with her tablet, headphones on, totally in her own world. She never cleaned a dish, never filled a ketchup bottle. And still, everyone acted like she was the future. My mom would talk about her creative spirit, and my dad called her his little genius. They said she needed time to develop her talents. What about me? I wasn't lazy. I wasn't lost. I had dreams too. I wanted to go to college, maybe study business, maybe even come back and run the saloon the right way. Make it something Grandpa would be proud of again. But the more I worked, the less anyone seemed to notice. I wasn't the baby. I wasn't the genius. I was just there. Sometimes I'd catch my mom talking to people at church or in town, going on and on about Brianna's natural gift with technology, or how she was going to be a big deal one day. I'd be standing right next to her and she wouldn't say a word about me. Not about the hours I worked. Not about how I held that bar together on weekends when the dishwasher broke or when a customer got too loud. I became invisible in my own family. It hurt in a way I couldn't explain. Not a sharp pain, but a slow, dull one that settled deep in my chest. Like I was giving everything I had and it was never going to be enough. And then came the day I got accepted into college. I thought maybe, just maybe, that would change things. Maybe then they'd see me. Maybe they'd finally be proud. I still remember the way my hands trembled when I opened that envelope. It was one of those big, official-looking ones that already felt like good news. And it was. I had gotten in. Full scholarship. Business program. My first real shot at doing something for myself. I stood there in the kitchen holding that letter like it was made of gold. My heart was pounding and for the first time in years I felt seen. I thought they'd be proud of me. I thought they'd finally say, "You did it, Renee." But the reaction I got wasn't what I expected. My mom barely looked up from her phone. "Oh, that's nice, honey," she said flatly, like I'd just told her I found $5 on the sidewalk. My dad looked at the letter, nodded once and mumbled, "College is expensive." I reminded him it was a full ride. Tuition, housing, books, everything. "Still," he said, "there's other costs. Travel. Food. You'll still need help." And that was the end of it. No hugs. No celebration. No dinner out to mark the moment. Just silence. A few days later they sat me down at the kitchen table. The same table where Grandpa used to read the newspaper and sip his morning coffee. My mom looked serious. My dad looked uncomfortable. "Renee," she started, "we need to talk about the saloon." I knew that tone. It was the same one they used when bills were overdue or something broke down. But this time it wasn't about a leaky pipe or a slow week. It was about me. "We're in a rough patch," my dad said. "Business hasn't been good. We're behind on taxes and the roof needs fixing. We can't afford to hire more help." Then came the words that still echo in my head. "We need you to stay," my mom said. "Forget college for now. Just a year or two. Help us get things back on track." I sat there in shock. I had just gotten a full scholarship. I'd worked for it, earned it. And they wanted me to throw it away? I tried to speak but my mom cut me off. "You wouldn't even have this opportunity if it weren't for us. We fed you, clothed you, gave you everything. It's time you gave something back." Felt like a punch to the gut. Like all the late nights, all the shifts I'd worked since I was a kid. None of that counted. I was still in their debt. And then they dropped the real reason. "Brianna's got something special," my dad said. "She's been working on this gaming channel. If we can get her the right equipment, a computer, camera, some editing software, she could really take off." I blinked. "You want me to give up college so Brianna can play video games?" "She's not just playing," my mom snapped. "She's building something. This is the future, Renee. He's got followers already. She's different." Different? I wanted to scream. I'd been holding this family together for years while she sat in her room giggling into a headset. I worked shifts while she live-streamed. I cleaned puke-off bathroom floors while she got praised for winning a virtual trophy. And now I was being asked to give up my dream. For hers? They tried to sweeten it. "Just 1 year," they said. "Then you can reapply. It's not forever." But we all knew how that story goes. 1 year turns into 2. Then 5. Then you wake up and realize you never left. So I hesitated. Not because I agreed but because they made me feel guilty. My mom looked at me with those disappointed eyes. My dad mumbled about family loyalty. And Brianna? She didn't even say thank you. She just smirked like it was a given I'd say yes. And in that moment I did the unthinkable. I said okay. Not because I wanted to. Not because I believed in Brianna's dream. But because I still thought maybe, just maybe, if I sacrificed this one thing they'd finally see me. Maybe they'd appreciate me. But I had no idea how deep that hole was going to go. The first few weeks after I agreed to stay were brutal. I kept telling myself it was temporary. 1 year, that's it. Just a short detour before getting back on track. I even kept my acceptance letter tucked inside my journal like some sacred thing. Proof that I had made it, that my dream was real. I woke up early every morning, opened the saloon, wiped down sticky counters, swept cigarette butts off the porch and smiled at regulars like everything was fine. Then I stayed long into the night, cleaning up after drunk folks, handling kitchen orders and keeping things running while my parents handled the books and Brianna, well, she slept in. She wasn't around much during the day. But at night, the house would shake with the sound of her shouting into her headset, laughing with her online fans. Her bedroom looked like a movie set. LED lights, dual monitors, custom gaming chair, a brand new camera mounted to her wall, and a mic that probably cost more than our dishwasher. One night, I came home after a 16-hour double shift, my feet swollen, my back aching, and there she was, yelling at me from her room to be quiet because she was streaming. I stood there in the hallway, still in my apron, smelling like beer and grease, and something inside me cracked. But I stayed quiet. I swallowed it like I always did. After all, I had agreed to this, hadn't I? That guilt followed me everywhere. It showed up in the form of passive-aggressive comments at dinner. Must be nice, Renee, to have so many opportunities. Some of us don't get scholarships handed to us. Even Brianna once joked, at least I'm doing something creative with my life. Then came my birthday. I didn't expect much. Maybe a cake, maybe dinner at the diner in town. But my mom insisted on hosting a little celebration at the saloon. She made me wear a dress. My dad invited a few of the regulars. Brianna didn't even come downstairs until halfway through the evening, and when she did, she handed me a gift bag and muttered, "Happy birthday," like it was a chore. Inside the bag was a used planner. From 2 years ago. One of those freebies from the insurance company. I tried to hide my face to keep smiling. But something in me was unraveling. After the party, while I was clearing dishes, my mom came into the kitchen. She didn't hug me. She didn't ask how I felt. Instead, she handed me a list. It was a budget. Broken down line by line. "We need you to start paying for more groceries," she said matter-of-factly. "And we thought you could take over the electric bill." I stared at her, stunned. "You want me to pay bills now? You live here, don't you?" she said, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. "And we're not charging you rent. It's only fair." Fair. That word echoed in my head like a cruel joke. I wanted to scream. I wanted to ask why Brianna didn't have to contribute. Why she could live like a guest in her own home while I ran myself into the ground. But instead I nodded. I always nodded. The next morning, still reeling from that night, I decided to call the college. Just to keep myself sane. I wanted to ask if I could defer another semester, maybe reapply when the year was over. But the woman on the phone said something that knocked the air out of my lungs. "We received the withdrawal notice months ago," she said. "Signed by your guardian." My heart stopped. "What?" "Yes, your scholarship was cancelled due to the withdrawal. We were surprised, given your strong application. Unfortunately, once a scholarship is forfeited, we can't reissue it. You'd have to reapply as a new student." I couldn't even speak. My father, my own father, had sent in the paperwork to withdraw me. He had taken away my future behind my back. And he never said a word. I hung up and just sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the wall. Everything hit me at once. The missed opportunity. The endless hours at the saloon. The way Brianna's dreams were paid for in full while mine were buried without a funeral. That night I didn't eat dinner. I didn't speak to anyone. And no one came to check on me. I was invisible in my own house. That's when I realized something. This wasn't just about money. Or sacrifice. Or helping the family for a year. This was about control. About picking favorites. About deciding whose dreams were worth fighting for. And whose were disposable. Mine. Mine had been thrown in the trash, right next to that expired planner they gave me for my birthday. But I wasn't going to stay silent much longer. I didn't tell anyone I was leaving. One morning I just packed a single bag, grabbed my purse, and walked out the back door of the saloon for the last time. The early sun was just creeping over the rooftops, casting long shadows down the empty street. I didn't even look back. Not at the crooked sign above the entrance. Not at the window I used to clean every morning. I just walked. I didn't have a plan. No savings. No connections. Just this quiet rage inside me, and the aching sense that if I stayed one more day, I'd lose the last piece of myself. The bus took me 3 towns over. That's all I could afford. Once there, I found a small diner that needed a night shift waitress. The pay was terrible and the manager had a wandering eye, but I took the job. I showered at the gym. I slept in my car. I kept my uniform clean and my hair tied back tight, even when my heart was breaking. The worst part wasn't being broke. It was the silence. No one called. No one checked on me. Not my mother. Not my father. Not even Brianna. After all I had done, all I had given up, it was like I never existed. And that nearly broke me. Then one night after a long shift, I parked in a quiet corner of a gas station lot and decided to go through the storage bin I'd kept in my trunk. It held old photos, a few books, and some papers I grabbed in a rush the day I left. That's when I found it. An envelope, slightly yellowed with age. My name scribbled on the corner in my grandfather's handwriting. I opened it with shaky hands and unfolded a series of notarized documents. Property records, legal letters, and a handwritten note from my grandfather, dated just before he passed. Read. If anything happens to me, I want Renee to know that half of the saloon is hers. She earned it. He gave me life when I was tired. She's the only one who ever saw it as more than just a building. I sat there, stunned. The paper trembled in my fingers. Half of the saloon was legally mine. And suddenly everything started to make sense. Why my dad never let me near the important documents. Why my mom always shut down conversations about Grandpa's will. Why they pushed me to walk away from college, to stay and work, to give up everything, because they knew. They knew it wasn't theirs to control forever. They'd lied to me. They'd made decisions about my future while hiding the truth about my past. That building, that business, they didn't own it outright. I did. And instead of honoring that, they used me. Used my labor. Used my loyalty. Then tossed me aside like I was nothing. I couldn't sleep that night. I just sat in the driver's seat, staring at that letter in my lap, the diner parking lot buzzing with moths under the flickering lights. And I knew one thing with absolute clarity. They weren't going to get away with this. They thought I was gone. They thought I had nothing. They thought I was just a tired girl with a broken dream and a name no one remembered. But they forgot one very important thing. I still had my name on that deed. And now I had a reason to come back. I didn't return with fireworks. No grand announcement. No revenge speech blaring over the speakers. My revenge began with a quiet phone call to a local lawyer. His name was Mr. Dalton. An old-school attorney with silver hair and a voice like sandpaper. I showed him the documents my grandfather had left me, and he leaned back in his chair with a slow, impressed whistle. "Miss Renee," he said, "you've been robbed in broad daylight. But we can fix that. Quietly, if that's how you want it." I nodded. No drama. Just justice. And that's exactly how we did it. Mr. Dalton filed an immediate request to have the saloon's bank accounts frozen pending a formal ownership dispute. Since the documents clearly named me as a co-owner, and my grandfather's signature was verified, the court didn't take long to act. The freeze went through in under a week. I didn't call my family. I didn't warn them. I let the silence do the work. It started with the bank. My dad tried to withdraw money for supplies. Declined. My mom tried to pay the internet bill. Denied. The electric company sent a notice. And Brianna? Her streaming setup went dark right in the middle of a live session. One minute she was showing off her expensive new headset. The next her ring light flickered and the stream crashed. She posted a teary video later that day, blaming trolls, the landlord, Mercury in retrograde, anything but the truth. Meanwhile, I booked a one-way bus ticket back home. It was strange being back. The town looked the same, but I didn't feel like the same girl anymore. I had scars now. But I also had power. Real legal power. I walked through the saloon doors at lunchtime. It was busier than usual. Old regulars sipping cheap whiskey, the local mechanic cracking jokes at the counter, and a group of ladies playing cards in the back. My parents were both behind the bar. My dad doing that fake smile he always used with customers, and my mom pretending to clean glasses that never got dirty. They saw me and for a second time stopped. My mother dropped a glass. My dad froze, holding a bottle mid-pour. I didn't say a word. Just walked in like I belonged. Because I did. I took a seat at the corner table, Grandpa's old table. The one with the uneven leg he never fixed. The one where he'd play dominoes with customers and tell stories about how this place came to life. And then I waited. It took less than 5 minutes before they came over. My dad hissed, "What are you doing here?" I smiled calm. "Sitting. Like any other owner might." "You're not welcome here," my mother snapped, her voice shaking. I reached into my bag, pulled out a manila folder and slid it across the table. Right in front of the mechanic who stopped chewing his sandwich to watch. "You should read this," I said. "It's the court order confirming that I own 50% of this place. As of today I have full legal rights to be here, and to make decisions. Including shutting this place down if I want to." Gasps. Real, audible gasps from the bar. The card-playing ladies turned to stare. The mechanic chuckled under his breath. One of the younger bartenders mouthed, "Holy crap." My mother turned pale. My dad's jaw clenched so tight I thought his teeth might crack. You can't just show up and take over," he started. "But you could steal my scholarship?" I interrupted, my voice calm but sharp. "Make me drop out. Work me into the ground while Brianna lived like a princess." My sister came rushing in just then, her phone in her hand, eyes wild. "The internet's out. My stream crashed again. And Mom, the gaming chair company said our payment bounced." She froze when she saw me. "Why is she here?" she demanded. I stood up slowly. "You all thought I'd disappear, didn't you?" I said, looking around the room. "You thought you could use me, toss me aside, and I'd just vanish into nothing." Everyone was watching now. Even the bartender stopped wiping the counter. But I didn't disappear. I found the truth. And now the law is on my side. I stepped away from the table, walked past the bar, and ran my fingers along the counter I had cleaned 1,000 times as a teen. "You told me I owed you," I said quietly. "But I was the one holding this place together. And now that I've taken back what's mine..." I paused, turned around, and looked directly at my parents. "You're going to learn what it feels like to be powerless." Then I walked out, leaving behind nothing but stunned silence and a room full of witnesses. They came to my motel that night, my mother first with puffy eyes and trembling hands. My father followed, slower, quieter than I'd ever seen him. Brianna didn't show up, but I could imagine her pacing back home, furious that the world no longer revolved around her. "Please," my mom whispered. "Don't take it away. The saloon, it's all we have." I sat across from them, the same manila folder on the table between us. But this time beside it sat a USB drive. I picked it up and slid it into my laptop. "Remember how you said I was always too sensitive? That I imagined things? Let's see." I clicked play. Security footage from the saloon lit up the screen, clear as day. My father laughing with a customer saying, "Renee? She's not going anywhere. She's too soft. Easy to guilt. Always has been." Another clip. My mother wiping a counter, rolling her eyes. "She thinks she's special because Grandpa loved her. Wait till she realizes she's just another waitress." And then, Brianna on her stream giggling with her friend, "Renee's working double shifts again. Guess college wasn't for her after all." The room went cold. The next day I returned to the saloon for one last time. This time with the regulars gathered, faces I'd grown up seeing. Before I spoke, I played the footage on the big TV behind the bar. Gasps. Then silence. Then something unexpected. Mr. Hall, a loyal customer, looked straight at my father. "You let us believe she was just helping out. Turns out she was the only one holding this place together." My father opened his mouth, but no words came. I turned to them all and said, "This was never about revenge. It was about respect. And now I finally have mine. If you've ever been made to feel like your dreams don't matter, I see you. I know how heavy that silence feels when the people you love choose someone else's dreams over yours. But I want you to ask yourself, what would you have done if you were in my shoes? Drop your story in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from. I want to hear from you. My name is Renee, and walking away saved my soul, but standing up gave me back my life.